Well, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Afternoon, evening, whenever you have the opportunity to see Remedy This Naturally, that the business you're watching in the background, 1140 Benvenue Road, they're to help serve you. What in the world do they do to help us have a better quality of life? One, in talking to a physician this week, they said people don't know much about herbs, and those just really don't have any history of helping them improve our healing naturally. We depend on the pharmaceuticals, we depend on the things that are made in the chemistry lab. And what happened? Give you an example. Let's take one called valerian. You probably know it better as what used to be Valium. And that was to help us to overcome anxiety, help us overcome pain, just a buku of things. Well, what happened? The chemistry lab got hold of the valerian, and they started picking it apart and taking all the components of it, the chemistry of it that God made, and says, here, now you can take this in a dosage that is good for you, and we've picked out that amount that you have to take therapeutically to make it work best for you. Well, in the natural realm, we basically do that as well when it's in a capsule form or a tablet form, and we can have it available for you to be able to use at a certain dosage. So, what happened was God's chemistry of making valerian was so good, man had to say, I've got to be in control of it. I'm going to take what's equivalent to God's chemistry and make it man chemistry. Doesn't it sound like something that happened in the Garden of Eden? That they were there and they were saying, well, I know God has this tree and I know God has this root, but we're going to go ahead and do it the way we think it ought to be done and be in control. So here we go, man trying to say, I can be my own God. I can be my own witness. I can be my own everything. And so that's what happened. So just to let you know, there is significance, there is knowledge, there is representation of the pharmaceutical, there is representation of the plant-based, God-induced formula. And so, bottom line is, who's going to make the profit? Who's going to end up with most of the money for something that has to be done? Well, let's just talk about a few things in the natural realm today. Let's just talk about anxiety for a little while and see if any of these things that I have to say to you make any sense whatsoever, and see if it's going to be something that can benefit us therapeutically, and it's going to help us have a better quality of life and do it naturally. Okay, let's get into anxiety. Lady said, I ain't getting into nothing I already got. I'm anxious enough. A little anxiety is a good thing. You know, it helps us get things done. It's the appropriate response to stress. So, stress, I think, really is one of the things that is really tough to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And so, if we have stress, it's what makes you look both ways before you cross a busy street. Rehearse your words over before you make a speech. Recheck the math on your taxing return. You know, you may do that one 3 times over. You can undo anxiety, worrying yourself into a frenzy. Overdo it, underdo it, We just know it's real. So, and a lot of this stuff, nothing at all until it becomes a habit. Instead of preparing you for dealing with a major stressors, overblown or chronic stress can virtually paralyze you with both physical and emotional symptoms. Stress, anxiety. Fortunately, you can find some simple and natural ways to ease your mind without even leaving your kitchen. You got it right there, folks. The answer. And basically, maybe not as much as used to be with mama and grandma when they had things available for us to be able to use for this and that particular thing that was needed. Let me just say there is a sequence that we can follow if we feel anxious. Take stock of the situation and consider the source. Yep, consider the source. You probably forget about a whole lot of things when that source is kind of like a pain in the, that place. Take stock in the situation and consider the source. Rationally considering what's going to often help the source, which basically is some good old soothe the emotions of what's going on. All right? If possible, remove yourself from the situation. If there's something you can get away from, move out of the way of, then get out of the path of what's causing that anxiety and that stress. When do some deep breathing, do some breathing. Actually stop, catch your breath. It would make a big difference. Focus on breathing in slowly and deeply, then breathing out. Something like in through the nose, hold it, out through the mouth. Try that again. Go in through the nose, take a deep breath, hold it, and release it. Okay. Focus on breathing. Just stop and breathe. All the times stress and anxiety, we forget to breathe. And that's not good. Regulate your breath with usually take away anxiety. And actually, I guess the best way of saying it will bring it under control. To slow and deepen your breathing, sit down, put your hands on your abdomen, and slowly inhale so that your belly expands under your hand. Now put your hand on your shoulders, hold them, just kind of love yourself a little bit. Breathe in, feel the abdomen coming out, still breathing in. You didn't know you could breathe and talk at the same time, or not breathe and talk at the same time. Just hold that breath, okay? Go. Hold it. Get rid of some of this stuff. Let the pressure go. Let the whatever. And I would say just repeat that till you feel calm or till you feel relaxed. Now, let's talk about some things about the cupboard. The kitchen cupboard cures. The kitchen cupboard cures. That actually, what was in the spice rack and everything, used to be our medicine. And go back to Hippocrates again. Let food be your medicine and let medicine be your food. And it's got to be something different than what is sold to us on the things that are like soft drinks, snack pack, instant sugars, attack, these type of things. Um, Something very, very simple of anxiety. You probably hadn't even thought of this one, but this is so cool. Yeah, I mean, cool. Do something that is normally considered what you would do in the morning. Hey, come on, Claiborne, just tell me. Okay, have a bowl of cereal. Yeah, have a bowl of cereal. A deficiency of vitamin B12 can cause anxiety. If you're a vegan, meaning you don't eat any animal-based foods, you could miss out on vitamin B12 because it's found mostly in meat, dairy products, and eggs. The vitamin is also available in fortified foods such as breakfast cereals, which supply a quarter of this vitamin's recommended daily amount of 6 micrograms. Vitamin B12 can also be purchased at Remedy This Naturally. You can get it in a tablet, capsule, probably in a dropper form. But you don't have to be a vegan to be deficient in vitamin B12. Not at all. There was a university study of 3,000 men and women found that up to 39% of people have low B12 levels, while about 9% are deficient. The research speculated that the problem is because many people have trouble absorbing this nutrient. The B12 in cereal may be better absorbed than other foods because the vitamin is sprayed on, like a supplement. Sprayed on like a supplement. Another thing is, it's kind of cute when I was looking this up, and it was talking about B12. It says, slurp it up in your milk. Make sure you slurp up the milk, which is where the vitamins in breakfast cereals often end up. So the cereal you may be taking has different fortified vitamins in it and so forth. And then if you don't take and drink the milk, some people say, I don't drink milk. Okay, I'll tell you what I will do. I will use apple juice as my milk. Not a problem at all. Because you're going to drink it, so it just so happens you got some cereal to go along with it. It's doable. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you now is getting more controversial as to what it says do. I was reading something today in reference to what the next thing that they asked you to cut out, and that is cut out the caffeine. It could be Java that's making you jumpy. It's not usually most people don't feel anxious or anxiety with 1 cup of coffee. But it's the third and fourth may make a difference. Had a gentleman the other day that offered him something beverage, and he said, no, I don't drink anything but coffee. Well, maybe should look into that, because if that's the only thing, then there could be some negativity there. Caffeine-induced anxiety disorder is an official medical diagnosis. Caffeine, that was supposed to be the word, caffeine is a psychostimulant, meaning it stimulates your central nervous system and then stays in your bloodstream and the tissues for as long as 6 hours. Most people can consume as much as 300 milligrams of caffeine before they begin to have this issue. How much is 300 milligrams? That's about 8-ounce cups, 3 8-ounce cups of coffee or 5 cups of hot or iced tea. If you could drink more than that, cut back a cup a day and see if your anxiety kind of lessens or betters. And then what I was going to tell you in the same thing, they're looking at things that the caffeine has a positive effect on helping to curb some forms of cancers. So it goes one side to the other side, right, so to speak. But look at it, think about it, and look at it in perspective of yourself. What is it that you have, that you do, that you can take advantage of? Now, what I'm reading more than anything else in this day and time is that 1 8-ounce cup of coffee shouldn't be a problem, but when you start getting more than that, then the questions come about as to am I putting too much of a stimulant in myself? So let's go from there. What can you do? What can you do? How about an herb to take the place of the coffee? I'll give you an answer. I have an answer. I have a tea. And it is actually known to work very well. I've seen it work greatly in people getting it, quote unquote, their relaxation, anxiety under control. And I want to say, go to Remedy This Naturally and get you some chamomile tea. Chamomile. And not only that, I think chamomile is kind of a sweet tasting tea. Chamomile is actually the classic remedy for frayed nerves, upset, nerve, bent out of shape. And it was years ago when I was taking a class and studying, and they were talking about and showing the people that worked in the fields to harvest the chamomile and the flowers. And the people, they say, are just so mellowed out. And they just love being in that field of flowers, of chamomile. And chamomile is therapeutically relaxing. The herb contains chemical apiguen, A-P-I-G-E-N-I-N, and luteolin, L-U-T-E-O-L-I-N, which promote relaxation. So you got a chemical in there. So when that person, that chemist wants to go there and they check out what can I do? I'm spacing out on my coffee, can't cut back. And the man says, how about checking on some chamomile? So they put the chemistry in there and they found a couple things that are conducive to mellowing out. One study, patients about to undergo cardiac catheterization were given a chamomile tea to see what effect it had on their cardiovascular system. While it had no measurable effect, 10 of the 12 patients fell asleep throughout this anxious producing procedure. Okay? So even though they didn't say it's going to do it, 10 out of 12 patients received some relaxation from taking the chamomile tea before undergoing a procedure for the heart. Uh, People with several allergies to ragweed, aster, and chrysanthemums may have an allergic reaction to chamomile. For example, calming action: use 2 chamomile tea bag in 1 cup of water and steep covered for 10 minutes. Okay, I'll tell you what I'll go ahead and do this. For maximum calming action. Okay. Use 2 chamomile tea bags in 1 cup of water and steep. Cover your tea so all the oils and it doesn't leave in the steam. Drink 3 cups a day when you're going through nerve-wracking times. And so, check it out. 1 cup, 3 times a day, and while you're being unnerved. Just go to Remedy This Naturally, get some chamomile tea, and try it. See if it makes a difference. How about if I told you there was something in a can that gave you calm? Yeah. Canned chicken and tuna are high in essential amino acid lysine, one of the building blocks of the brain's chemical messenger called neurotransmitters. And this goes back, folks, about 10 years ago. Because this study was done in 2004. Men who were experiencing high levels of anxiety started to feel even better once their diets were fortified with lysine. It's an amino acid called L-lysine. Okay? The amino acid is highest in meat, fish and beans, among other sources. A 4.5 ounce serving of canned chicken a day may be all it takes to calm you down. It contains about the amount of lysine that occurs to help reduce anxiety and tap down stress hormones in a group of healthy volunteers back in a 2007 Japanese study. So basically, the thing that really you get out of what I just said is it has an amino acid that is good to put down stress, and that's L-lysine. And you can actually purchase L-lysine by itself if you don't want to open up a can of tuna or chicken. But just to let you know, the kitchen has benefits, to let you know why chemistry proves what's happening and what the benefit is of what's going into your diet. I love it. Another thing, we talked about this last week. We talked about honey. And if we can switch from sugar to honey, the New Zealand found out that rats' high antioxidant honey exhibited less anxiety in a complex maze that animals, in other words, they did a study and they found out that if you switch from sugar to honey, then the body starts to relax. That's better than me stumbling through all those words right there trying to pick it out. That's kind of cool. Another thing. How many of you like a tuna melt? It has significance. It has a reason to want to eat it. And what I'm trying to talk to you in the beginning, we've just joined us, we're talking about things in the kitchen that can help us have a better quality of life. Okay? We talked about tuna. I didn't mention this yet, but salmon, salad, good thing to go with. The other thing that is just a handful of walnuts. There's some evidence that omega-3 fatty acids, remember that, omega-3 fatty acids, fish oil, what is the benefit of it? What does it do for us? It has significance. Because there are foods that basically are edible. God made them available to us. Didn't make out for us the benefit that was in the Garden of Eden, so to speak. That had everything. We're still picking and choosing what's going on here. But the omega-3, which is abundant in canned fatty fish, walnuts, flax seeds, may even ease anxiety symptoms by lowering levels of stress and such as, what's it going to lower? Adrenaline and cortisol. An Israeli study found that students given fish oil supplements had less rest or anxiety measured by their eating and sleeping habits, cortisol levels, and mental stress. Significance. You're eating that tuna, you're eating that salmon, and you're wondering, what is it that I'm benefiting from? The benefit is you're getting an omega-3 fish oil. And you can eat, have the funness to cook, enjoy the meal, or go to Remedy This Naturally, pick up you some omega-3, and see if it will help benefit your anxiety to lessen it. Okay? So just talked about honey, talked about canned chicken, talked about canned tuna. But what we're easing up to, if you can get it and you want to just take the supplement, that's a good way to go as well. Isn't that fantastic? I just think God was so good when he created you and me. Okay. Now, one of my favorite, one of the one I love to help use is I use an essential oil. And this essential oil, I can take the cap off of it, just put me a couple drops, rub it together, and I will go breathe in slowly and breathe back out. You can take it if you like it. You can put it on a cotton ball and you can put a couple drops on it, put it right here, hold it, ladies, and you've got it available. I like the aroma of this herb. And this herb is called lavender. Yeah. So instead of lather up, I say lavender up. And just get a few drops of the essential oil lavender. And you can put it at night. You can't sleep, right? You're restless. If it's okay, put a couple drops on your pillow. Couple drops in your bath water. And ladies, this is kind of a little bit funny because I remember this happening. The lady was anxious. She'd go to church and she still couldn't get wound down. She would, in other words, when the preacher got to preaching and the folks got to running, she just had plain long, got anxious. So what was recommended to her was take that lavender, take her hanky that she was doing this with, put a couple drops on it, and fling that sucker around, and that lavender not only got her comfortable and relaxed, them folks right around her were going, "Woo, girl, what you got?" And so, but she had lavender, and lavender helps to relax. You can even rub it on your skin, and if you're going to do that, use a carrier oil like jojoba, even olive oil. It's one of the few essential oils that can be applied directly, and that's true. Remember that lavender can be applied directly, but when you're doing essential oils, most of the time you're going to use a carrier oil, and you can actually, even in lavender, make the aroma last longer by using the carrier oil. One study found that people who received a massage with lavender were more upbeat, had less anxiety than people who had lavender-free massage. So if you're getting a massage and you don't have the lavender put into it, ask for it. And if you got a good aromatherapist and a good massage therapist and they use essential oils, they're going to know that. You just tell them what you need. They will make you a combination that you're heavenly, you think you're already there. Just that powerful. Okay? And also, lavender has been known to bring down the systolic blood pressure. And that top blood pressure is normally associated with stress. You can also add 5 drops to a cup of boiling water and inhale for a quick calm me down. Now, the other thing, if you're doing it that way, and you have that cup of water with those hot, and you have the 5 drops of lavender in it, take and pull something over your head like this, and then just let that steam, be careful it's hot, don't do anything crazy, but just what I'm trying to say is the steam coming from the heated lavender is going to go into your respiratory system, and it's going to make a difference. But do it with caution. Don't burn yourself or do anything crazy, but be cautious. In other words, that's my disclaimer to you, so to speak. The other one, rosemary. And every time I think of rosemary, what do you think with it? Rosemary, sage, and thyme. If you are taking, like, you get anxious before you go take a test, you get, like, you're all worked up before it even get in front of you to be able to do with. You might want to take a little sprig of rosemary, put it in your pocket, or roll some dried rosemary in a tissue. A group of nurses taking an important test said not only calmed their nerves, they thought it helped them find some answers because they were able enough to relax and not be tense. So even testing, anxiety related to that, try rosemary, okay? So that's anxiety. That's what we got going on about us and in our life and our history of trying to get things done. Okay, why do you want to sneak off? My next topic going to be. Okay, here we are. This broadcast is being done live on the 25th of September, 2023. And I say that because if we have the opportunity to see this again, want you to understand that there is natural things to do in your kitchen that can help us in what is already known as the cold and flu season. So we need to make sure that we have the, and I'm going to say this, curative effect of the supplements and herbs that are in your kitchen cupboard. And, you know, scientists in the book I'm reading and showing right here, it says, scientists study the 99 known strands of rhinovirus, made a headline-worthy breakthrough in 2009. By decoding the virus genome, they did what? Discovered weaknesses that could believe can cause and lead up to the cure for the common cold. And I've always said there was no cure for the common cold because the common cold was the cure. Yes, I will repeat that. There is no cure for the common cold because the common cold is the cure. And that's what the body's trying to do. Body is trying to break out what's inside of us that's causing us to be anxious, have a cold, to have flu. What can we do to help get rid of it so our body is strong enough to handle what is trying to be a negative on us physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? So by decoding the virus genome, they discovered weaknesses they believe can finally lead to a cure of the common cold. The bad news is that cure is still a long way off. In the meantime, you can rely on trusted home remedies as your first line of defense against what? What is letting you know? What's the first line of defense? What's supposed to wake you up? What's supposed to say, I need to do something now or get off the pot? Okay? Defense against sniffles, wheezing, sore throat, coughing, and aches. These cures come right from your kitchen cabinet and help you get back on your feet faster. I think we got something hot here, buddy, talking about that. I talked about it before, and pantry, the kitchen cupboard, the pantry. We talked about cayenne pepper. We talked about elderberries. We talked about eucalyptus. We talked about flax seeds, garlic, ginger root, honey, lavender essential oil, lemon, mustard powder, peppermint essential oil, rubbing alcohol, sage, salt, tea, thyme, witch hazel, wintergreen, zinc lozenges. All of those things we have hit on, talked on, and shared with you so you can take advantage of it and get to where you need to be. But let's be realistic, okay? Let me come back and let you know there's some responsibility that we've got to do on this, okay? One, some hard and fast rules we should all follow when a cold or flu comes about. What are we supposed to do? Stay home in a warm but not overheated room. Increase the moisture in the room with a humidifier. If it makes you feel better, it won't, in other words, it won't speed up the process. That's the moisture. Drink plenty of foods. Get lots of rest. To keep the virus from spreading, cover your mouth when you sneeze or cough. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. And do your friends and co-workers and public at large a favor by staying home until the symptoms pass. Okay? Now, I love doing this one, but the people around me kind of say, Claiborne, you got to do something about that. It's coming through. Garlic. And we've got some capsules of garlic. I can take 2, and the family will know that are you taking garlic? So if I don't want to use that garlic around somebody else where they're taking a benefit that I'm wanting in my body, they're taking what's off of my body and getting something positive from it. We have the odorless garlic at Remedy that's naturally that you can pick up, okay? But let me tell you, there's no question that garlic boosts your immunity, fights viruses. Researchers keep working to find just how effective it is. Though its effectiveness at easing colds is a cause of debate, herbalists often advise eating raw cloves in the onset of cold and flu season. If you cook or use dry garlic, it loses its antibiotics potency. To make it more palatable, chop up a clove of garlic, mix it with a spoonful of honey and yogurt or applesauce before eating. That all ran together. Garlic, okay, chop some up. You can eat it with honey. You can use it with yogurt, use it with applesauce, and put it in there and just eat it and get it going. Chopped or crushed raw garlic activates its medicinal compounds. So, just like that, if I were to go, sniffles, need to do something about it, then what should I do? So garlic is very, very potent, very beneficial, and very curative. But there again, I think the odor has really done it a bad job and I think that's part of nature's way of keeping us away from people. When you smell bad, you don't want to be around them. Therefore, if I've got garlic coming out of me and you say, ooh, I ain't getting close to him, garlic served its purpose. Because what was one of the things I said a while ago, do friends and co-workers, the majority at large, stay home and stay away from people. And garlic gives you that incentive. If not, it gives them that incentive to be away from you. There's also a honey mustard remedy. Mix 1/4 teaspoon of mustard powder with 2 tablespoons of honey and swallow. The sweet, savory blend will help loosen your congestion. Now, again, got to give you a disclaimer here. Never give honey to babies under 1 year of age. Just a rule of thumb. There is a tea. Just listen carefully. I'll get it to you. And it uses 2 slices of fresh ginger, or if you don't have fresh ginger, you can use a ginger capsule in a small saucepan and add 2 cups of water. Bring to a boil, simmer 20 minutes. Drink the tea warm. The ginger is loaded with anti-inflammatory germ-killing compounds. Did you hear that? The ginger is loaded with anti-inflammatory germ-killing compounds. Make it even more delicious by adding some honey and orange juice. You'll get a shot of vitamin C from the OJ and a burst of soothing antiseptic powder from the honey. And here again, Breathe in some herbs and spices, aromatic germ-killing herbs, and humidity can be wonderful for a stuffed up head. This treatment takes only minutes. And put it together. We talked about that. I know my Aunt Lena, when someone would get sick, she would give them a little shot of wine, and the covers were the old quilts that were made with the batting or the cotton in the middle of them. Them by itself, once you slid in and got under the quilt, you ain't going to move because the weight of that quilt is going to hold you down. So, and they said, okay, you got to sweat it out. Well, is that any significance to sweat healing? Indians had sweat lodges. You'll certainly think so. Since so many home remedies like mustard plasters and steaming cup of ginger tea make you perspire, these remedies have their place. Mustard plaster can help break up chest congestion, and ginger tea lowers fever and kills viruses. Hope you're paying attention to that. Ginger tea lowers fevers and kills cold viruses. Yeah. But you can't get rid of a cold by simply sweating it out unless you're working on that sweat by exercise. Turns out hopping on a treadmill or getting some form of aromatic exercise gives you a little relief. It opens up the sinuses, allows them to drain, and according to a doctor in the Mayo Clinic, exercising helps you stop the natural cold-fighting drug adrenaline, chemically related to all of the drugs used to treat cold remedies. Adrenaline levels go up when you exercise. What's more, when researchers asked people with colds or work out and treadmill, they learned that their colds didn't limit them the ability to exercise. They can still exercise. They're still doing it. So you want to sweat it out. You want to, but make sure you're doing something to help cleanse and detoxify, and you're drinking your fluids. Somebody said, well, wait a minute now. We talked about. Okay. When to call the doctor. What do you got to do? If you're sidelined with a miserable cold, especially if it's accompanied by a fever and aching, call your doctor's office. Or even if you think it's just a cold and you've learned about all flu hitting the community, and your doctor's office will suggest the best course of action. Generally, they'll want you to come see them in person. If a fever lasts for more than 3 days, or if a temperature is over 102, never give aspirin or a child with a virus. This increases the risk of Reyes syndrome, a rare but life-threatening disease. So use caution, use common sense. You feel like you need to get something, don't be Mr. Bravo. So spices are good for us. How we doing on time here? Check it out. All right, we got it. Some people use zinc lozenges, and I do, for one. Zinc glutamate lozenges are among the top remedies for colds and flu. In one study, people who sucked on lozenges containing about 13 milligrams of zinc every 2 hours while awake shook off their symptoms 3 to 4 days sooner than people who didn't. Just don't take them continuously for more than a week. Okay? And by that time, you should be where you don't really need them. If you should have some results within a week, for sure. The other thing, elderberry. While you're at it, grab some elderberry. At the first sign of the flu, take elderberry syrup, and the name is going to be Sambucol. Sambucol. Elderberry has been used in Europe for centuries to fight viruses. One lab study showed that Sambucol killed 10 flu strains, and in a human study, it reduced flu recovery time to 2 or 3 or 4 days. It just made it quicker to happen. More recently, in a test tube study conducted in Florida Research Lab, elderberry extract killed H1N1 virus. Another option, elderberry flower tea. Make it by putting 10 elderberry tea bags in a quart jar of water filled with just boiling water. If you're going to do something with boiling water in a jar, you got to know that you got to put a metal something in there to absorb that heat so that jar doesn't bust. Okay? Cover and steep for 20 minutes. Sweeten with honey to taste. Drink 1 cup every hour. Reheating the tea when necessary. Elderberry flower products can be purchased that remedy this naturally. And the other thing is, I like to boost it by using a little bit of cayenne pepper. I just like cayenne is absolutely a miracle plant. In the kitchen, in the cupboard. I like it. See if I can get this in right quick. Both cold and flus are caused by viruses. There are many more cold viruses than strands of the flu, but they are relatively minor infections. Cold viruses primarily inflame your mucous members that line up your nose and your throat. The all too familiar symptoms include runny nose, wheezing, watery eyes, and sometimes a sore throat. Aches and cough. Most colds clear up within a week or so. Influenza is a more serious illness. It necessarily comes with a fever, chills, muscle aches and pains, and sometimes back pain. In addition to cold symptoms, this flu typically comes on suddenly and can lead to secondary infections such as bronchitis and pneumonia, which require much more serious medical attention. For your reason, the flu can pose a serious health threat, especially to the elderly. Flu viruses and notorious shady shifters. The more recent flu incomation, I can't even read here all of a sudden. Anyway, the H1N1, they sweeping, and then you got the things that are going on. Be smart and make sure you do what you need to do. If these symptoms come up, check with the doctor, make sure that he can prescribe you what needs to be. Find out if the Tamiflu or the Ritalin can sometimes stop this right away. Get your knowledge information. I like elderberry and what we've been able to do. I love my garlic, and if something else I am reading more about now is celery, going along with helping heal ourselves. So, bottom line is, your kitchen cabinet has cures and options that you may need to check into. We at Remedy This Naturally just want to provide knowledge, information, and just to make sure people don't forget that God has a pharmacy that He wants us to tap into. Until we meet again, may good health be yours. I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman. Most of all, this information that I'm sharing with you is to help you seek further attention from your healthcare provider, just to make sure. Love you guys. Bye.